and so pleased to be standing with my colleagues in government here, with the leadership of the Speaker and the Senate President, who is today represented by the extraordinary Senator Dianne Wilkerson. To sign two bills that confirm a simple truth, and that is that in Massachusetts, equal means equal. Today, by repealing a nearly century-old law, we affirm the right of same-sex couples from out of state to marry in Massachusetts, to enjoy all of the protections of our good laws. Today, by repealing this law, we continue to lead the way as a national leader. Today, by repealing this law, we have affirmed the democratic principle that all people come before their government as equals. We're also here to mark another milestone in our fight for equality: the passage of the MassHealth Equality bill. This legislation will grant married same-sex couples in Massachusetts the same access to Medicaid benefits as heterosexual couples. The bill will protect the spouses of gay and lesbian seniors from the potentially catastrophic costs of long-term care, including impoverishment and, in the worst cases, homelessness. The MassHealth Equality Bill is the first piece of legislation in the Commonwealth to codify the Goodrich decision, extending legal marriage and its protections, benefits, and obligations to same-sex married couples in our state. And it's the first piece of legislation in the nation to reject discrimination in the Federal Defense of Marriage Act. Marriage equality, and let us face it, is still troubling for some of our fellow citizens here in the Commonwealth. But it is the law, and we must be about affirming that simple and basic premise that people come before their government as law. In 5 years now since the Goodrich decision, the sky has not fallen, the earth has not opened to swallow us all up, and more to the point, thousands and thousands of good people, contributing members of our society, are able to make free decisions about their personal choices. And we ought to seek to affirm that every chance we can. Acknowledge and ask you to applaud today and every day you can the courage shown by our legislature, the representatives and senators who are here today and those whom they represent for that vote, and the leadership shown by my friend and yours, the Speaker of the House, Sal DiMasi.
Thank you very much, Governor. Thank you for that warm reception. And I am so proud to stand next to the Governor, the leaders in the House and Senate and all of the members of the legislature to celebrate the signing of two more important laws to protect basic civil and human rights. Think about Massachusetts. Think about where we have come from in Massachusetts over the years. This has been an incredible time for civil rights in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and I'm proud to be part of that along with all of you. Let's have a round of applause. The Supreme Judicial Court got it right in Goodrich. The decision that affirmed a founding principle here in Massachusetts that I always believed in, and I know that many of my colleagues always believed in, that every citizen of Massachusetts shall be treated equally and shall not be discriminated against. Proud, and it couldn't be more of an important issue to me during my tenure here as Speaker to stand with my fellow legislators in the Constitutional Convention and say no to putting discrimination into our Constitution. Another day where we stand by that commitment so that same-sex couples in Massachusetts and throughout this country will be able to marry here, have equal rights, because we are repealing this archaic law. 95 years is too long to have a kind of discrimination law on our books, and today we're finally closing that chapter. And I'm proud to be part of that. I have always believed throughout my career here that people are equal under the law. Based on that principle, given to me by my immigrant grandfather who came here, who read the Constitution and said, I'm proud to be a citizen of this country that gives equal rights to everybody, including an immigrant like me. So he instilled that principle in me. I believed in it when I came up here, and I have been fighting for the rights of gays and lesbians since the 1980s, and proud of it. Yes. Back then, I was a radical. I was controversial for my speeches on that issue. Look how far we've come. Look how far we've come. I've always said that the rights of gays and lesbians to marry in Massachusetts would not depend on what we do, but what you do. And you have risen to the occasion. You have shown people, as the governor said, the world didn't end. As a matter of fact, because you love each other so much, because your love is now recognized in marriage, I think we're better off in this Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I'm proud to serve with the leaders in this House and Senate and our governor, who really has been a tremendous asset to us in this cause. I am honored that Massachusetts now has the reputation across the country that will respect and honor all families. Thank you very much. gives me great pleasure to introduce you, who's representing the Senate, and the Senate President, who's been such a great leader and such a great pleasure for me to work with in this issue, Senator Dianne Wilkerson.
Yeah. Session for the year, and we have a lot more work to do. Representative Linsky reminded me that a lot of good things have happened in this very space, in this State House, in the last 3 or 4 years. And I'm thinking, what a difference a governor makes. Crazy things happen in this building. And they may be right. But what we also know is a lot of wonderful, good, and right things happen in this building. And today we celebrate one of those. You all may remember in 2004, during the Constitutional Convention, I talked about my grandmother, who was 94 years old at the time. What you may not know is several months after that convention, she died. I have the very unique privilege of having both my maternal and my paternal grandmother live for 95 years. And it seemed like 95 years for them wasn't long enough for us to have them. Yet that same 95 years that this pernicious and evil law has been on the book seems like 95 years too long. And so today, to me, the celebration is that we close a chapter, a very dark and evil chapter in the history of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and we start a very new one. Anyone who was paying attention to in 2004, during the whole debate about the Constitutional Convention, had to know that this day was coming and should not have been surprised. And I've been saying to people, to me, this was just inevitable, part of the housekeeping that we had to do to make real the commitment that we made as legislators to do everything we could to not only keep discrimination away from our Constitution, but to then adopt all of the necessary policies and make sure that we made that equality real. And I think today is that day. I thank the Speaker, who was in the right place from the beginning. Know, and were sometimes, I think, may have been a little guarded, but we knew all along where she was on this. And I think she's proven to the world that equality to her means equality for everyone, in the same way that the governor and the speaker have mentioned today. Is that I wanted to be clear that, and for me it is so important, and I'm saying this so very proudly, I stand here on behalf of the Mildred Lovings of this world. On the day after the Senate passed this bill, I was in Via Victoria, celebrating the beginning of the Festival of Batanzas. I got out of the car and I walked up, and a woman stopped me and she said, "You all did that interracial thing yesterday, didn't you?" Now, you know, for us, you never know. I was bracing. I was bracing. I said, "Yes, we did." She said, "Thank you." My parents were an interracial couple. We came from the South to Massachusetts because we could. And I'm so glad that finally we are telling the rest of this country that what we did then was wrong and what we're doing now is right. Mildred Loving was the half of the Loving versus Virginia couple. who defied the state of Virginia. Some of you may know the story and how ironic it is that she lived until 3 months ago. She actually died in May of 2008. To our knowledge, she never gave a single public statement except one a year ago in June 2007. She was a very private person. Her husband, Richard Loving, died in 1975. They spent a year in jail for marrying each other in the state of Virginia, and they got a 25-year sentence.